Ready.
Hi, and welcome to New Jersey Wedding Podcast. Thanks so much for joining us today. We are your hosts, Andrea Pertel and Celia Milton, and we are both full-time professional wedding officiants here in the state of New Jersey. And we thank you for joining us today. All right, Celia, how's it going with you today? It's like 11 degrees out.
Oh my God. I think we're full-time frozen wedding officiants at this point. I'm like, I cannot feel anything below my ankles.
When
It's
I
like it
woke
just,
up this morning, it was 11 degrees, and the
uh,
high,
that's
the
not
high
right.
today is 21 degrees or
That is
something
not a high.
crazy
That's
like
not good.
that. I
No,
know.
we're just no.
Yeah.
And for all of our elopement people out there, you want to be looking at indoor spaces. We want to elope you. We want to marry you as soon as possible, but not outside.
Yeah, I had a cozy little elopement under the wedding arch in my
I
home
saw that.
office last
Yeah.
night. That was really sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know you have a great place near you that
Yeah, we've got some great little places and
indoor.
they're just not, it's just not outside.
Yeah,
No.
it's not the
No.
beach. It's not a good time for the beach right now.
Oh, whoa, no. No, 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 no. But see, by now, smooth transition, the people who are listening to us probably have their venues together, which is really
Right.
great. And they are moving on to other things.
Right. Yeah. So in our previous ones, congratulations, you're engaged. Now what? I mean, we talked about the pre-planning stages, call bride lawyer, hack my
Hmm.
honeymoon, discuss your vision, set your budget, create your guest
Yep.
list, the time frame, and booking your venue and your key vendors as well as your wedding officiant. And then at this point, so because you have your venue.
Yeah, you should
Now,
be feeling good at this point. You should be feeling
yeah,
like relaxed.
all excited.
Yeah.
Then, as you were saying, Celia, the next thing really is accommodations for guests. Most people get like
Yes.
hotel blocks, unless you've chosen one of a venue
Yeah.
with a hotel at it, then it's kind of normal to get a hotel block at a hotel nearby, correct?
Yeah, at this point in time it is. And, especially by you because, you're at the shore and you're talking about summer things and,
Yeah.
people, you can't think about that. We had made an outline and, I feel like the accommodations and the transportation part of that piece, that should really be in place before some of these other things. Because if you're thinking about some of the venues like in Sparta, there's like 14 venues in Sparta. And there are venues like hotel venues that may be doing 9 weddings on a weekend. So
Well, yeah.
yeah, get that together.
Well, the
Yeah.
good news is when you book your venue, every venue, I mean, I don't know
Yes.
any that shrugs and says we don't know. Every venue
Yep.
has local nice hotels that they
Right.
recommend, that they work with, they network with.
Right.
Hey,
Right.
you can get a discount if you call this beautiful hotel that's only a couple of miles away from
Mm-hmm.
here. And they will do a room block for you, and they'll have
Yeah.
your venues probably has a name for you to call and contact.
Yeah.
So that is really part of the book and the venue. You're correct in
Yeah.
that. So
Easy.
you
Easy.
need to get those accommodations, the room block, and then a lot of people, if you've gotten a room block there and you're expecting most of your guests to stay at this hotel, you're going to need transportation. It's
Yes, you
it's
do.
really important. You're hosting a big party with an open bar.
Yeah.
You need the transportation, whether it's the buses or the
The
trolley or
trolleys. And it's
the
fun
van,
too.
whatever.
It's
Yeah.
fun. People kind of, they get on these buses and trolleys and they see other people that they know and they don't have to worry about driving and navigating and parking and all this. Again, especially by you, because in the summer down there, you cannot park anything.
No,
So,
that's just such a stressful. And
yeah,
again, this is also a time when, so you've gotten, probably the name for the hotel that's going to give a room block for your venue. Um, when you do the room block, they might have people that they work with. We work with this
right.
service and they know, it's good to
Yeah,
have somebody like that. They know the route. They're going to be there.
they're going to be there.
They're going to give you recommendations for transportation,
Yeah,
maybe a couple of different recommendations so you can see what fits your budget.
yeah,
And so yeah, so that's all kind of part of the venue, getting the venue,
yeah.
accommodations for your guests and transportation for them to and from those accommodations in the venue.
Yeah. I think that honestly, I think that on our little checklist that we had here, that was kind of far down. But for me, as soon as you book that venue, then
Yeah.
you like start working on that because you may have we talk all the time about venues where we are at the same place, but you may be getting married in a church or in a park
Yeah.
or at the beach, and that's not where the rest of your day is. So now you need to get those people from point A to point B for the ceremony to point C for the reception. And it's just, it's a much better time for everybody, including you, because you don't have to worry where people are. If they're, they're just, they are hostages. They are taking
Yeah.
us. Yes, we're taking you here, then we're taking you there, and it's all going to be great. And you don't have to worry about it. Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah,
The
I like it.
and then at this time, so you've got that done, and now is also the time to start thinking about your wedding attire. So,
Mhm.
especially if you think that you're going to need a lot of alterations, or you think you're going to need, custom, you're thinking of custom wedding dress, something like that. Start your wedding dress shopping. And to me, that seems like so much fun, but maybe I watch too
Yeah.
much of that, those shows where they pick their wedding dresses. I love those shows,
Oh,
but
yes.
yeah, yes to the dress and things
Oh,
like
yes.
I
There
love
there are
those.
187 episodes of that, and I have watched all of them. Yes, I have. But all kidding aside, if ordering dresses takes longer than you think, and
And then
altering, even if
alterations on top of that. And
the
most need
alterations as
some.
well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
Uh,
when we have fantastic wedding. We had I Do, and they're like lovely.
I was just
And
going to say that out in Morristown,
yeah,
I
they're
do
great.
wedding gown boutique, and we also, you have to check out,
Oh,
um,
hand-me-gowns. Oh, I love them.
Hand Me Gown
Yeah,
Bridals.
totally.
Yeah, it's a fabulous store as well. Um,
Fantastic. But that's not something you want to have to be under under a time, a
yeah.
constraint to do that because you want to get kind of used to the idea of shopping for that. It's not like going to buy a dress.
Yeah,
Okay.
give yourself
It's like a different
time.
process. Yeah.
Give yourself time and enjoy it, and
Yeah.
take your favorite person or people with you, and yeah, it seems like a lot of fun. And of course the guys, they have to do
Oh, suits.
their
Yeah.
suits and all of that. And
Yep.
at least with the suits, if you use, I'm sure there's lots of places to get them, but I was just talking to a couple, and she was just listing things off the top of her head. They're coming
Mm,
out here in June to get married, but so they don't live here in Jersey. Their family does, because they used to live here, but they now live in Florida. And she's like, "Oh yeah, he's going to get his suit. He's renting uh
right.
a tux, and but we can go get fitted here, and they'll have it at the store there,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. For the guys, that's
you don't
yeah.
have to bring it with you. I think that's really great. The guys have it
Yeah.
easy with that.
Yeah. Well, and I think that there's like so many different things. I'm just looking at these print wedding gowns that are so pretty for the spring and and all these interesting color suits that are it's just not like, okay, we just need a white dress and a black tuxedo. It's not like that anymore. So
No, it's
yeah.
not. And that's one of the reasons why you have to first get your date, what time of
Yeah.
year, obviously, and your venue. Now like, because it is more than just the white dress and the black
Right.
tuxedo. You're gonna, is it a fall? Are we gonna put some fall vibe into that tuxedo, or is it a beach wedding? Is it an indoor winter? Right?
Is it winter in the outside and everybody needs thermal Spanx underneath their gowns? Just saying. Hand warmers for everyone in your wedding colors? Yeah. Okay. I like it. It's just good to, you know what? I feel like in so much of our advice, the factor that makes everything better is time.
You're right. And when we talk about all of this, the time,
Yeah,
if you can do anything in advance, it takes the stress away.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what? From another point of view, you want to enjoy it too. It
Yeah.
would be nice if you could like savor, trying on dresses or suits or tasting cakes, whatever you're going to do. It should be, enjoyable, for
Mhm.
you and the professionals that you're working with too.
Yeah.
So now we have something to wear. Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, save the dates and a wedding website. That's next, isn't
Oh,
it?
yes. The wedding website, it's very common for people, for
Yeah.
couples to make a wedding website. And there are many sites to go to where you can make a free wedding website. And this is nice because your guests can go to the website and double check the the venue, the date, the
Yep.
time. Lots of people put their love story there. They might, if they're having a wedding party, they write who's in their wedding party, and that it's just kind of nice. It's part of today's world. Check it out. Check out the website,
Hmm.
and and it's also having a place, a one place to go to in case there are any changes. I mention all the time, I'm at the shore. So I have a lot of couples who are having their wedding on the beach, and they're going back to their venue for the reception. However, if we happen to have rain on that day, or excessive heat or whatever, bad weather,
Yeah.
the backup location is
Right.
at the venue. So let's say that you're looking at that, the day before, or and
Yeah.
you're like, they're calling for, 100-mile-an-hour winds and
Yeah.
rain. Is it still going to be on the beach? And you could do an update on your website, and everybody knows
Yeah.
where to check. You're not having, how are we going to let everybody know, or people wondering. So you can always put an update there,
I love the wedding website, because it's fun to look at people's pictures and it's fun to like, see what else is going on. A lot of them have, like some of the areas, obviously, again, you're at the beach. Some of the areas that I work in have great attractions nearby. And it's like, okay, you're going to be there for a couple days. Do you really want to miss the golf museum? I don't think so, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I like that. Fun things. There'll be a list of fun
Yeah.
things to do there and all of that,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the wedding website is great. You don't need to pay for them. Plenty of platforms that allow you to do the free wedding website.
Absolutely.
And we were talking about this. I just want to interject, and I think that we talk about, backtracking a little. I love the idea of having an email for just
Um,
your wedding. And this is a way
yes.
to stay organized. So even when you're reaching out to vendors, so
Mhm.
put this up at the beginning, at the pre-planning. I'm sorry to backtrack, guys, but it is my opinion to make a free Gmail or a free email account with anyone, just specifically for
Right.
your wedding, so that you don't get in your personal or business email. You don't want to get a bunch of junk mail, and you want to easily find your emails from
Right.
your vendors.
Right.
This way you can have a Gmail account, maybe make some folders or whatever, the Joneses wedding, or ourwedding.com, at gmail.com,
Right.
whatever you want to make it, your names. I love the idea. And then when your wedding's over, boom, done. Yeah, cancel
No,
it.
it's great. It makes it just easy for you to, find things like contracts and, and I love the wedding websites too because, you have all the information about the place and the accommodations and the shuttles and those kind of things. And, and there's also a place that you can put your registry if you have one and, what kind of stuff you have in that area going on. It's just good. I don't know how many people, I'd like to know how many guests actually go to those wedding websites. I don't know, but I think it's really useful. I always go to them.
I always go to them. I
Mhm.
love it when they have their love story written on there, because you can
Yeah,
put that along with the get to know you questionnaire. It helps. It just helps me. I love
yeah,
to read
I
them
like
and
it.
see
I
what's
love
going.
it.
I check my brain to make sure I'm on the right date and stuff. No.
That's always good too.
Wait, where am I going? Where's their website? No, I'm teasing. I have a contract for that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. And then, of course, at this time, it is tradition to send out the save the dates. And there's so many. You can get beautiful save the dates. Again, we've interviewed some great
Mhm.
stationary folks,
Yeah,
so and the save the dates, I guess it's tradition just to give people a heads up, save this date for the obvious, save the date reasons, and then uh so that they, especially if they have to make arrangements in advance. I mean, I guess for me, a save the date is very helpful because we're in the wedding industry,
yeah.
and I might have a wedding booked if I'm being invited to your wedding, So I'd like to know so I can cross it off and be able to go. or if people are
Yeah.
coming from out of town, or especially if you're having a destination. Yeah.
Well, I feel like it's good to let people know that this is going to be happening. Your ride or die people, your families, you probably will have told them at this point,
Well, I know.
when
Yeah.
and where this is going to happen. It's not all that helpful to gauge your actual head count from this because I don't know, 8 months from now, if you have a destination wedding or you're getting married on like 4th of July weekend, I almost, and I'm not a big fan of save the dates, but I think it's almost crucial to send them out because you might have, your sister-in-law, and they all go away for 4th of July. They do it every year.
Yeah.
And, you want to give them time to either let you know that they can't come or, fiddle around with their plans so they can.
Right. Right.
But
And some people, you don't know how long they have to request time off from their
Mhm.
job. And like us, we need a lot of time. So yeah, it's good. I've never been a big fan. Like, I think, geez, it seems like an
Yeah,
extra step. Why not just send out the invitation? But
right.
I do get it. And folks, we on season 5, episode 15, we had a great conversation with Marcy, founder
Oh,
of
Marcy, yeah.
Care to Remember, wedding and event invitation designer. So you might want to check that out. That's
Yeah,
great.
good. She does beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's exciting. We talked, and we'll probably talk a little bit more about, the idea of email invitations and, email RSVPs. But you know what? People get so little actual mail that I think getting a really beautiful invitation in the mail really lets them know that this is going to be something special.
Yeah, it's
You
really
know,
neat.
yeah, it's like you're gonna put it on that refrigerator with those magnets, and you're gonna look at it for like 3 months. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, yeah. And so around this time where you're making the wedding website and you're sending out the save the dates, kind of like the tickler, the save the dates,
Yeah.
finalize your wedding team. You've got your
Mhm.
main wedding team, but now if your venue is a type where you're going to need to book some kind of rental chairs or tables, or
Right.
maybe do you just want to have that,
Right.
from Heartfelt Rentals, another great
Oh
company.
yeah, or some
Maybe
gorgeous
put some
depression wear. Oh
cool
yeah.
little, yeah, rentals in your reception area or something to give it a vibe.
Yeah.
Um, any special linens, anything like that. Now would be you would book it at this
Right.
time when you're doing this,
Right. Yeah.
right, right.
Things like, your after party. Maybe you're doing an ice cream truck or a taco
Mhm.
truck, or maybe,
Exactly.
maybe you're
Ooh,
doing some kind
tacos.
of long games or, anything that, you've got the big puzzle pieces all together. And it's like, oh, you know what? You know what might be fun? Having a person filling cannolis on the dance floor. Yeah.
Yeah,
Be
yeah,
fun.
very cool.
Now's the time to think about that because you've got your big building blocks are all in place.
Yeah, yeah, all of those little fun accessories to add
Hmm.
because you have the date, the time, the venue, and all of that.
Yeah.
And then of course, on weekends, you can crack open a bottle of wine and start working on your seating chart.
Hmm.
At least get that. Um, and maybe your reception timeline
Your
things.
wedding questionnaires and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not little stuff. It's just things that you can't really do that far ahead. So,
Right, right.
you
And
always
then they
have time.
say, you do your uh save the dates 6 to 8 weeks, 6 to 8 months in advance, but you send your invitations 6 to 8 weeks before the wedding date. I always thought that was earlier. But
You
maybe
know what?
not.
I think that, it's tough because if you're talking about people getting an invitation for a wedding
Well,
in
but then
January,
yeah, you need to know how many guests. There's that cutoff.
well, yeah, you do, but there's also, are people, if I get an invitation for anything 8 weeks ahead of time, it's going like, I don't know, it's going somewhere. If not, because it's like I got 8 weeks to deal with this. I think the mail thing, like 6 weeks, I think is really kind of
Let's
perfect
say,
because
yeah, six
yeah,
to eight weeks.
it gives them time to like think about it, decide whether they can actually go. But most of your venues are going to be asking for a final count 2 weeks ahead of time.
Right,
You
right.
know,
So
and
you've sent your save the dates 6 to 8 months. Now 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to send
Yeah, that sounds about right.
and you're going to have an RSVP date, and you really have to hold true to that RSVP
Yeah.
date because, as you just said, your venue needs the head count by X
Hmm.
amount of, the chef needs it. They need to hire
2 weeks.
their waiters and waitresses and all of their help
Yeah,
and
usually two
get the
weeks.
food ready. Yeah.
And you will have to call people. It does,
Yeah.
your guests are not going to reply. I'm just telling you that like right now.
And there are
It's like,
and we talked about this with Marcy as well, when
hmm
we interviewed her. You, people can either mail back the RSVP. You can include a self-addressed stamped envelope, right?
yeah,
With the RSVP, or you can have them go to your website and respond there. Um, and a lot of people, budget wise, the cost of stamps, the cost of that RSVP and
yeah,
the other little envelope, a lot of people are charging, are doing it to their
yeah.
website, RSVP at this website. I love that idea. I like getting the mail, the beautiful invitation in the mail, and
Hmm.
then just going on to online and RSVPing. But I guess that's a personal choice, and whether you think all
Yeah.
your guests can do that.
Well, the point is that you will have to be calling them.
You're
Oh,
right. You're right. You're going to
and
be like,
that list that you use for the invitations, that is the list you're going to use for your thank you notes. So it's not like it's a lot of work.
yeah,
I'm like, you're
true.
going to use it again.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh. What's now? I'm like looking at our list. Let's see. The invitations, they're going. Marriage licenses. This is something that people tend to forget about because they go, every website that you look on in New Jersey is going to have like a different variation on when to do this and how. But you should do that earlier than you think. You know,
Yeah, yeah, I think the marriage license,
yeah, do
do
it
that
earlier.
earlier than you think. And also this is maybe, and your officiant will guide you with that. And I
Mm-hmm.
tell you what, I'm always looking 30 days or more ahead, and I'm emailing my couples and
Yeah.
saying, hey, touch and base, might have some questions, additional questions about the
Did you
ceremony.
do
But
it?
I always say, if you have not applied for your marriage license, now is the time to do so. And then I attach my instructions again.
Yeah.
But and then you might want to do your finalize with your you probably already have you've already booked your hair and makeup vendors,
Yeah, I
right?
would
But
think, right?
now,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. But now you might go for your trials because you know what I mean, your
Hmm.
trials. And maybe that's more at the same time with what how your hair you're going to wear your hair usually with the wedding dress maybe, but you're going to do those final trials of hair and makeup. And maybe if you're lucky enough, you're going to schedule some spa days so that
That'd be
you feel
nice.
your best, right?
I would want to have a spa day and a cake tasting on the same day
I know.
because I think that it would cancel each other out. It would just be like fine. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And folks, we have had so many great interviews with all kinds of wedding vendors. I really liked the building your wedding trousseau with sitting
Yeah.
pretty intimates. I think that is really something that once you've gotten your wedding dress, you might want to go get your intimates from sitting pretty, and you build a little bridal trousseau, which
Hmm.
is your bra and underwear that's going to look nice and sleek underneath, or your wedding dress and that, and what you're taking on your honeymoon and stuff like that. I like that.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like sweet. It's kind of sweet and intentional and it's not necessarily the way that we treat ourselves every day.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, at least I
And
don't.
the other thing you might, yeah, it's a shame we need an excuse to go and do that. I want to make one of those, and I'm not even getting married. But the depending on your venue, there are other things to think about. Uh, obviously, if you have a wedding planner, they have emergency kits. Many nice venues. I know Clark's
Mhm.
Landing, the Mill Lakeside, man, all these nice venues in their bridal suite. They always have dressers with drawers, and they're going to have emergency kits in there, the sewing, the stain remover, the Tide sticks. They're going to give you snacks for the big day. But if you're doing a DIY venue, you're going to want to make, and you don't have a wedding planner, you're going to want to assemble a little bit of an emergency kit. Maybe
Totally.
assign somebody to that.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
like an
yeah, and you
emergency.
need that. And you know what? You do need food.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
forget about this. You're going to be there for a long time.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
maybe your venue is providing that. Not all of them do, but you don't want to be hangry. You don't want to be
No.
thirsty and hangry, especially in the summer.
You
Yeah.
don't want to. You don't want to, yeah, and you don't want to be dehydrated, and you don't
Nope.
want to start drinking on an empty
Nope.
stomach. No,
Happy wedding parties are efficient and orderly wedding parties.
yeah, yeah. And and at this time, throughout this time, once you've booked your vendors, they're going to keep in touch with you.
Of
Your
course.
your DJ is going to tell you, is going to be constantly in touch with you, finalizing what type of music and getting all those pertinent questions answered. And of course, your officiant is also going to be, they're going to give you a timeline for getting that information they need to complete your ceremony, reviewing it with you and getting it approved. And everybody has their own little timeline. They're going to constantly be keeping in touch with you and making sure it
Yeah.
all goes out seamlessly and great. So, what is it? The last thing is enjoy the day. Trust those
Oh yeah.
professionals that you have hired. Trust them, relax,
Yeah.
savor every moment with your partner.
Yeah. You know
Yeah.
what, the thing is that you pick people. I was talking about this with somebody today. You pick people that you like, that are professional, that are good at what they do, and
Mhm.
you kind of let them go.
Right,
And
right.
just there, and don't be afraid to call anybody with a question, because you know what? We never think it's a dumb question. It's like
No.
we want your questions answered too, because if we show up and then you're like nice and calm because everything's been going so well, then you're going to have a great day.
Absolutely.
That
Yeah,
easy.
it's going to be great. I read once that a fun thing to do as you're planning your wedding, and I guess it's going to be depend on how far out your planning is make a little schedule for yourself. And
Yeah.
every weekend, whether it's Friday night or Saturday afternoon, you schedule a date night with your partner and have your list of, okay, on this date night, we're going to work on this and we're going to work on that. And you kind of do it together and it becomes, something fun, and a bonding experience, right?
Well, and you're also not talking about it every minute of every day.
Right, right.
It's because you still have life to, life is moving on and you probably have to keep up with it.
Yeah,
But
and you have to be careful. I will say you have to be careful about talking about it. You be prepared. You're going to get a lot of advice from people that you might not want advice from.
well, yeah, that's true too. You can always feel free to ignore anybody who's giving you advice.
Ignore
The
your
only people you should listen to are your vendors and your venue.
Yeah, you're professional vendors, and really don't watch too much advice from influencers on social media that are
No,
posting stuff that has to be just for content. These are, here's a great idea for your wedding, and they say something crazy.
no, no.
Have your
I was talking to
officiant stand in the aisle. No.
no, that's not good. I was talking to somebody last night and we just got onto this like crazy wedding stuff, like conversation. And I said, you have heard that thing about like brides getting their hair cut between the ceremony and the reception. She's like, no. It's like, it's
That's not a thing. Nobody's doing that. No one's
nobody's
doing
doing,
that. That was
but
made for content.
no,
That
it's
was just
crazy.
made for crazy content because that's how they make their living.
I would
Um,
say that if the two of you look at each other and go, what? then that's
Yeah.
probably just something stupid. Yeah.
No kidding. I saw, because obviously my algorithm, I'm in the wedding business. I get
Hmm.
these things. I go on Instagram to post something, and no kidding. I saw this. A wedding influencer said, can we just normalize not giving out the exact address of where the
That is
wedding's going to take
ridiculous.
place until the RSVP has been received? And then he gets on and he's like, here's how you make sure they RSVP. Don't tell them where the wedding is. They have to RSVP to find out. That way, people who don't RSVP can't find where the wedding. How do you know where? Like,
That's
I don't even
ridiculous.
need to explain how that doesn't make sense, but it doesn't. I'm not RSVP into something I don't know where it is.
That's
So
crazy.
stay away from stupid Instagram posts. They're fun. Laugh at them. You're not going to cut your
Yeah.
hair in between,
No, you're
and
not.
you're not going to gatekeep where it is. So
That's insane. How can anybody say yes to that? Is it like in the Virgin Islands or is it in Newark? Like, come
yeah,
on.
yeah.
You know,
And don't have your officiant stand in the aisle or off to the left-hand side. Hire a professional,
oh my
and
God,
they
please.
know what to do.
Yeah.
You don't have to give them instructions. You don't have to
No,
worry about
we're
it.
gonna
And
be,
yeah.
yeah, we're gonna be like, we're gonna be there. We're gonna get it accomplished.
But the
I know.
most
Yeah, I actually,
go on.
I was just thinking about, no, I was just thinking about licenses again because, um, somebody just texted me about their license. And, if you're in a place, if you're living in a place where you are going to get your license and it's a busy place like Jersey City or Newark or, Patterson, whenever your wedding is, just call tomorrow. Just do
Yeah.
it and
Yeah.
find out when they need you to come because some of them are just so busy that it can take in season, it can take 2 months to even get an appointment to get to apply for your license. So you
Yeah.
totally don't want to do that. You just, again, in the fond hope of having too much time to do everything you need, that's just the best way to approach it.
Right. Right. Yeah. And your officiant will guide you with that. So.
Call
All
us. We
right.
like talking to you.
So have fun, really have fun planning your wedding. And yeah, advanced planning takes the stress out of it, but
It does.
whatever you have to work with, enjoy it. Enjoy every moment leading up to your special day. And
Yeah.
congratulations. Thank you for joining us today. And we have some great vendors coming up.
Oh,
We
I'm so
have
excited. Oh,
Crystal Point Yacht Club
I'm
we're
so
interviewing
excited.
them in just 2 days, and then Indian Trail, right? Because you were there,
Yes. Yes. We
and
got a couple other people that I can't really tell you who they are yet,
yeah.
but they're going to be
Oh,
like, it's going to be just
we already have so many
fantastic.
great venues on there, and we have more coming up. So be sure to hit the like and follow button. And thanks for
Yes.
joining us today.
You don't want to miss anything. You don't want to miss one word. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
This podcast is brought to you by New Jersey wedding officiant Andrea Pertel, owner of For This Joyous Occasion Officiating Services.
And Celia Milton, owner of NJ Vows Now, also New Jersey wedding officiating services. We're up in North Jersey and Andrea is down in Central and South Jersey. So together we cover the whole state, don't we?
Yes, yes.